Rubio.
Oh, yeah.
They will, just like selling toothpaste, make you think you have to have that brand. That's the
Right.
brand that will give you what you need. Um, and then if we're successful, and I hope we are in 2010, then we start doing this for 2012, and we start electing senators throughout the United States of America, members of the House, local officials from the Constitution Party. Palm Beach in Florida can make history. Or we
Absolutely.
could, go out like a dud.
Right.
And we'll just, we tried and we failed. We didn't fail. We're putting everything we have into this. It's the people that want to save this country that have failed because they were too damn cheap to contribute to a cause that could save get us out of this mess we're in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jim mentioned something earlier that really caught my attention, because I had heard you say it in a speech talking about all this, the health care and everything that's going on right now, because the health care bill is really at the forefront of all this right now, and this has just slid in underneath the door. But he was talking about eugenics and about I remember you in one of your speeches that you gave, you were talking about this is really eugenics, the health care bill.
Yeah. But even, look, our opponents are very clever. They know what they're doing. Universal health care is an issue, but it could be a diversionary tactic.
Right.
I actually think cap and trade is more important.
Oh, by far.
So while people are focusing on universal health care, and they say, well, we listened to the people and we took out the public option. In the meantime, they're passing cap and trade, and they're ruining our economy. So think about the years 1950, 1960, sort of the Manchurian candidate.
Mm-hmm.
And you wanted to ruin the United States. You can't beat us militarily, so how do you do it? You wreck our economy.
Right.
You wreck the spirit of the American people. You bring down the culture.
That's right.
People think we won the Cold War. We have not won the Cold War. It's a hot war that we're still fighting, and it's getting hotter by the day.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's a gentleman that wrote a book called The Economic Hitman.
Mm-hmm.
You heard of that book?
Yeah.
And I haven't had the pleasure of reading it, but I did read some of what he wrote, and he talked exactly about going into. He talked, very clearly about going into countries and destroying their economies.
Yeah.
Through manipulation of the money, lending, borrowing, through their stock markets and so on. And if we look at what's going on here, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
But we've been on this road for destruction for a long time, because the Federal Reserve, we were talking earlier, is the biggest scam and fraud on American people since 1913 in the world, right?
Yeah.
Because it affects everyone else too.
So there's no doubt. That's why I say it's been it's been in progress for some time now.
Right.
That's right.
But the odds are against us, but we have to put our trust in a higher power. So that's hopefully we're not wasting our time here, and that we'll be successful.
That's one thing I think that that's one thing about our party. I think that separates us from others. Is we're really putting our trust in our Creator, and I think more so than other parties are. Personally myself, I know that that my Creator is everything, and that I'm really nothing without Him.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And the same with my family members. So we have to, God has to intervene. He has to. This is too powerful. Like George Washington, used to so eloquently write about divine providence, and how he escaped so many seemingly impossible situations,
Mm-hmm.
and lo and behold, we won.
Yeah. No, that's true. So that's why I know probably most of you around this table, that's what keeps us going day after day, and trying to.
Faith, exactly. We have that faith.
We don't know the outcome, and that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
What we do know is that we're on the side of the right. We know that we're fighting for liberty and truth and for justice and all those good principles. And I love what Ron Paul says, liberty has a way of uniting people.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that. And I think this movement is out there. And the key is, can we bring them all together? I think if we can continue to unite all the like-minded, libertarian-minded type people out there, then yes, we can win. we can take back our country. It's an uphill climb.
Yeah.
Blood may have to be shed. I don't know. Bottom line is we have to be willing to fight, die, and whatever it might be to get to the other side. And we just have to hope for the best. And yes, pray that God is on our side. And in the end, our forefathers, not all of them survived the Revolutionary War, if you will. Blood had to be shed. And they didn't know whether they were going to win or not. They just knew that they had to do it. And I like what you had said to me one day, Marshall. You said that, I really don't want to do this, but this is my duty to my country. Mm-hmm. And I agree with that. And that's kind of one of the reasons that I came aboard with you guys, because I believe this is our duty, and this is my duty to my country, to fight for the Constitution and the very documents that have set this country so far ahead of every other country in the world. Our liberty and freedom here has done so much for people, and why we would ever want to change that or not fight to uphold that is beyond my comprehension. I'd rather die fighting for freedom than to live accepting tyranny. That's just my
No, that's very well said, and I think that's
that's my quote.
Yeah.
It's a quote
No, that's great. And the framers or the revolutionary heroes of '76 were radicals too.
Yeah.
And
terrorists.
in the positive sense of the word.
That's right.
So, but look, we all know that we're putting a lot on the line. The government considers us to be, quote, domestic terrorists. But that's their problem, not ours.
That's right.
We need to have the support of the American people. And, I agree with you 100%.
I have a question. That I think that I've been wanting to ask this for a while of you. The Constitution obviously came years after we won independence with England. And really I say this all the time, my freedom document is not the Constitution, it's the Declaration of Independence. And the Constitution is a restrictive document that governs our government. So, as free men, and the Declaration of Independence clearly states that whenever our government, and I'm paraphrasing it, is basically gets out of control and no longer serves us, that we have a right to change it. And what do you think about that? Because so many people, they're almost afraid to talk about changing. It's like they've been separated from the Declaration of Independence. The average American is more loyal to the Constitution than they are to the Declaration of Independence. And I just don't get that.
Well, that's kind of dangerous territory, because the Declaration of Independence, we don't need the Declaration of Independence. We have our God-given rights, these unalienable rights. The problem with the Declaration of Independence, and this is what progressive liberals and socialists, they like the Declaration of Independence too, but they take it out of context.
Right.
They take the all men are created equal,
Right.
equality in the distribution of resources.
That's right.
So they don't look at the parts you and I look at.
Right.
But the Declaration was a propaganda document to the French that were rebelling against King George, but that doesn't mean we're against monarchical government in principle. So they wanted the French to come to our aid, and they did, and without the French, we never would have won the Revolutionary War. The last paragraph of the Declaration of Independence is very important, because 3 times it reiterates the sovereign and independent status of the states. But the Declaration, it's political rhetoric, but it's not our agreement. Our agreement to live among each other as states in our state communities was first the Articles of Confederation that was ratified in 1781. So the there was a gentleman's agreement from 76 to 81. It became problematical for a variety of reasons, according to the nationalists. So then we have the U.S. Constitution in 1787, 1789, it was ratified. But we have to be careful with that philosophical language of the Declaration, because communists like it too. They say, look, if all men are created equal, why do I see inequality everywhere in the distribution of scarce resources? And they say, oh, I know why, because we have an unjust economy.
Right.
So social justice requires the government get involved and redistribute resources